Hi everyone, again. Welcome to the second masterclass by myself. We saw how much support the first one got and how helpful you all mentioned it was. So I sent a poll shortly after the first one, and this is the topic that won. That was like 3 months ago, so if you don't remember that, don't worry. Today, we are going to be talking about general free language learning tools. And I wrote a list of ones that I've seen through my years of, being in this community, being around the whatever with the general language learning community. So we'll go through them, their use, how you can implement them in your language learning studies. I did talk about some general study tools during the first masterclass, so I won't be repeating those today for those who saw the previous one. And if you didn't see the previous one, which you should, it's on our YouTube channel. Feel free to peruse around. These will just be tools specifically for language learning as opposed to general study, but they will be general language tools. You'll see what I mean later. Without further ado, let's start talking about some general language learning tools. These are all the stuff that we're going to be talking about today. I think we have about 15 to go through, 15, 20. I really tried to scratch my brain this one, guys. First one we're going to talk about is Language Reactor. So I wanted to start this masterclass off with one of my favorite language learning tools. It's a free Chrome extension where you can have dual subtitles on Netflix and YouTube. So you can do your native language and a target language, or maybe two target languages at the same time. That's about the extent of how I use it, but you can also use their catalog of YouTube videos and sort by like a vocabulary level, so you don't have to dig around YouTube for videos that may fit your level. Here's an example. I really only use it for the first thing that I mentioned, but they have a bunch of other stuff too, and I was like, dang, and this is for free. So let's see. You can also highlight a text section on a website when you're reading in a target language, import it, click on the words, use their built-in translators or have it read to you. I've never used that part before, but I did look around into it. Like, I didn't use it for my own personal language studies. So I know for Netflix that it is only the subtitles that they provide. For the premium version, they will create their own, but for the free one, it's already provided. There is a free plan and a paid plan, but I personally think that the free one is more than enough, but this is the stuff that it adds on. So, like I mentioned before, speech recognition for all audio tracks, machine translation, save words and phrases, blah, 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 AI, whatever. But anyway, I think that the free one is more than enough. Next one is called Common Ear. And it's actually a fairly new tool that I saw come out, and it's by Closemaster. And so basically, there's this project that already exists that uses voices in different languages to train AI. So basically, Closemaster decided to take these sentences and make a listening game out of them, where you can listen to native speakers say a sentence, and then you type out what you hear to help train. So here's an example of what that looks like. And they currently have 32 languages supported, but they have a humongous list of languages that they plan on adding to as well. There's a little snippet. This one's like 6 seconds long, and just have to fill out the blanks, type what you hear. The Closemaster made this website. So it's Common Ear by Closemaster. There's some external like AI company or whatever, and they have this database of audios said by native speakers to just train AI. However, Closemaster took this database and then made it into a listening game for language learning. So there's about a 6-second snippet right here, for example, in Spanish. If you're a little bit more advanced, then, and you're trying to train your ear to listen to native speakers, this would be a good website for you. If you're at the very, very beginning, I wouldn't necessarily recommend it. But then again, it's also like a 6-second clip. So it's not like you're listening to an hour of a podcast. It's just 6 seconds. You can play it over as many times as you want. You can even change the speed as well. Next one, this one is called YouGlish, and it basically takes you directly to sentences in YouTube videos that contain the word or phrase that you want to hear pronounced in context. So, for example, here's what it looks like for the word courage, and you can even choose what dialect. So, this one, you can look up the word courage, and you can pick, oh, I want to hear it in US dialect, I want to hear it in UK, Australia, Canada, Ireland, Scotland, New Zealand, and how to pronounce courage English, 1 out of 21,000 results, and it'll basically just pull a YouTube video that has this word in it, and it will give you the sentence as well. Side note, even though the site is called YouGlish, which you would think only implies English, they actually support 21 languages. Next one, this one is Tatoeba. It is a free collection of example sentences with translations geared towards foreign language learners. It is available in more than 400 languages. You can use it to search for a word or phrase in your target language to see how it is used in different contexts and see how grammar rules are applied. So here's a good example. It's more accurate than just a translator because all of the sentences on here are created and verified by native speakers, and some of the sentences have voice recordings as well. You can see dogs bark, some examples, and then they also have phrases as well. So like good dog, bad dog. You type in the word from English to French, like a phrasal translation. Okay, next one is Forvo. So for Forvo, you can look up any word or phrase in your target language to hear how native speakers pronounce it. And they also have filters for different dialects too. So this one is more of like an audio dictionary. And if you look up language, for example, 25 people pronounce it. And then they also have different phrases as well. Sign language, language barrier. You can also go to their guide section, and it has phrase books with audios on different topics. Here's an example: everyday phrases in German. Where are we meeting? What do you prefer? And you can listen to native speakers pronouncing all of those. Next one is Lingolette. So Lingolette has news text in simple language in about 30 languages. And after each article, it has a list of comprehension questions that you can answer by typing out your answers or speaking them, and then AI will grade it. I want to include some AI stuff and some not, because I know some people are like, yay, and some people are like, boo. So I wanted to include some options, but basically they're just going to provide a little text, and then the questions are going to be comprehensions about the news article. And then you can either type out it or you can speak it. This next one, something super simple and honestly not talked about that much, is Google Translate's Chrome extension. And I do say Chrome because, sorry, I'm a Chrome stan. I'm sure that other browsers have stuff. So also, yeah, other translators I'm sure have this. I just wanted to show the most basic one. Everyone knows Google Translate. So it's super simple where you just highlight a word and it instantly pulls up the translation. It's a lot easier than just repeatedly switching back and forth between tabs to check on Google Translate. This one's pretty self-explanatory, just a translator, guys. Now, I'm just showing the super basic Google Translate one, but I'm sure for other languages that have more specific translators, like I know Papago for Korean, I'm sure that they have a browser extension too, but I didn't really want to get into the nitty-gritty of it, so this one is just Google Translate. So this one is Spotify for language books. This one technically isn't free, but it does come free in quotes now. If you guys could see me, I'd be doing quotes. I'm doing air quotes right now. It does come free with a Spotify subscription, so if you're more of an auditory learner, this one will help you a lot. Basically on Spotify, you can look up the audio textbooks and listen to lessons. I just use Thai as an example, and I don't see too many learners coming in learning Thai, and even with that, there's still a lot of stuff here. Basically, from my understanding, is that they used to have two sets of Spotify subscriptions, one being just for Spotify Music, and the one being for the audiobooks, and then they got rid of the audiobook one and combined the two of them together. I do want to give a little bit of a disclaimer for this one, because we learned actually while we were recording this masterclass and while the actual event was occurring, that as of October 2024, Spotify Premium subscribers in the US, Canada, UK, Ireland, Australia, New Zealand, France, Belgium, the Netherlands, and Luxembourg can access audiobooks as a part of their subscription. So even though there may not be an explicit audiobook tab in yours, there's still a lot of options for podcasts that are actually audiobooks. However, it does look like they are going to be trying to roll out the audiobook tab for other countries in the near future. Let's move on to the next one. This one is Project Gutenberg, and it is a library of over 70,000 free ebooks where you can choose between free EPUB, Kindle ebook, you can download them, you can read them online, and there's no fee and you don't need to create an account. And so this is basically for reading material if you want to read anything for free in any sort of language. Okay, next one is the Comprehensible Input Wiki. So it's basically intended to provide a list of resources for people hoping to learn a language using comprehensible input. I talked about this concept in the previous masterclass as well, so I'll just give a quick definition and move on. So comprehensible input based language learning is characterized by listening to or reading content in the target language at or slightly above the level where the learner can understand everything that is being said. If you're still shopping around for resources, this site can be good to learn about some new ones. I will say though, some of the pages for the smaller languages are a bit sparse, so just keep that in mind if you're thinking about using this one. This is a pretty good example. French, I wanted to pick a more widely learned language. They have a little key, video, audio, text app, starts from absolute beginner. So there's like short stories, there's YouTube channels, different stuff, dialogues, audios, videos, etc., etc. So the next one is the ChatGPT app. And so I assume that everyone here is familiar with the concept of ChatGPT, whether you used it or not. And so for those who aren't familiar, ChatGPT is basically AI Google. Like I mentioned before, I do have a couple AI resources in here, but it's not the majority of them because I know some people prefer, some people don't. So I just wanted to provide both options. Basically, ChatGPT is AI Google. I like to call it custom Google because you can ask it a question and it'll scrape the websites for you and come up with an answer. And it's actually gotten pretty good over time because now it'll provide links to different websites. So really you could use it for like a, hey, I want a language learning resource where I can practice my pronunciation, and it'll show you a bunch of websites and it'll actually include the links as opposed to just mentioning them. So that's something. But anyway, ChatGPT has an app that has voice where you can practice speaking in a target language if you're feeling too nervous to talk to people, or you want to get to a baseline where you feel comfortable saying basic. So you can either jump in and talk about whatever, or you can prompt it saying you're a language student that has insert CEFR level here, in insert language here, and you want a conversation partner. And then you can also mention that you want someone to point out mistakes. So next, this one is called Typeracer. So Typeracer is a website where you can enter in typing races with others, but the thing is, they also just so happen to have text available in like 50 languages. So here are their top languages, and here's an example. So you don't need an account or anything like that either, and when you enter a race, it looks like this. Here's an example. I just clicked on Albanian for the purposes of taking the screenshot, and 2 other competitors joined me as I was saving the screenshot. So even for the lesser spoken languages, there are still other people who join the races fairly quickly. However, they do also have solo race options, and you can even make private lobbies with friends as well. So if you want to practice by yourself, if you want to practice with random people, if you want to practice with friends, they have all of it. Audible is the next one. So Audible is another resource that you can use for free. You can go onto their search, you can type in a language, you can use the free titles filter and then use those for no charge. Basically, it's kind of like podcasts, audiobooks like we mentioned before. And so for those who don't have the Spotify thing, but also Spotify has podcasts, so this is just another resource. I know that some of them, it says like only available on Audible, so would be good to peruse. And they do have a filter for the free titles like I mentioned right here, so you can use that. Next, this one is Toucan by Babbel. So Toucan is a browser extension for Chrome. I wrote in my script even, maybe other ones too, but I use Chrome, so IDK. Sorry guys for the non-Chrome users. But each time you visit a website, Toucan translates certain words and phrases into the language that you're trying to learn. So that way you can learn your new language using context clues in one you already know, and they have about 15 languages available. So the way that it works is when you visit a site, Toucan translates words into your new language. This one says food, friends, recipe information, discover. It has a word in Spanish right here, and you can learn occasional vocab words in context of reading stuff in your native language. You can also highlight to translate, come across a word and while you just want to learn, highlight it and Toucan translate that. Next is Radiogarden. So Radiogarden is a website where you can basically listen to a bunch of radio stations from all around the world. You can listen to local music, native speakers talking on talk shows, etc. Here's an example of what it looks like. There's like a globe thing and all of the green dots are radio stations. And so you can look it up. You can just click on the country. You can bebop around, see if there's any specific radio station that you like. You can listen to people talk your target language. You can also listen to music, stuff like that. If there's any pop, jazz, rock, whatever radio stations, you're interested in that genre, then you can find stuff and see what people are actually listening to. I feel like when I look for artists in my target language on Spotify, I don't really know what I'm doing. Like if I'm just starting brand new fresh, I guess for example, I was learning German a little bit ago and I'm like, I want to listen to music in German. Where the heck do I even start? So this could be a good example of I can go to Germany, I can bebop around to the different radio stations and I can hear what people are actually listening to on the radio. Next one is Vikidia. So Vikidia is basically Wikipedia, but all of the articles are written in simple XYZ language. They don't have too many languages, but there are a handful of websites that have the same concept where it's simple language in an article format. So Wikipedia has another website called Simple Wikipedia where they have Wikipedia articles written in simple English, and there's a way to like confirm it's simple. So there are other websites that have offshoots of this, but in different languages. It has 14 languages. Sometimes there aren't necessarily websites that have mass amounts of languages, but they may have a website that's specifically focused on one language. Next one, Slowly. I'm not really a huge fan of apps like HelloTalk and Tandem due to the poor moderation and just the way that everything is set up. It feels like people just have very surface level conversations for 2 seconds and then leave you on red. Or especially if you put yourself as a native English speaker, the way that it works, I think on HelloTalk, is that random people can just match with you even if they don't natively speak your target language. The last time I used it was maybe 4 or 5 years ago or something like that, and that's pretty much what my experience was. However, if you're interested in language exchanges, I would recommend Slowly because it's more of a pen pal app than an instant messaging app. So you can pick which languages you speak. I think you can only do one target language for the version. You can pick which languages you speak and are learning, as well as interests. And if I remember correctly, they do have a fair amount of interests you can list, like sports, music, theater, blah, 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 culture, politics, whatever. Then you can reach out to people and it'll show you how many interests you guys have in common. And then you can send virtual letters to people. And I recommend sending out a handful because people won't necessarily respond back. And it's pretty cool too, because depending on how far away you are from the recipient, it'll take longer to send. And so I think the max is maybe like a day or a day and a half. So it really encourages you to write longer, more cohesive and thoughtful letters instead of just, hey, what's up? How are you? I'm good. You? I'm good. Okay, end of conversation. This one is actually like you can ask questions and it's more writing. So this one's pretty good. I mean, I would say, best language exchange experience is going to be on the Language Cafe Discord server. However, if you are looking for external resources, this one's pretty good. I do recommend this. All right, next one is the Language Cafe website. Obviously, I have to finish this presentation. Language Cafe website. So Language Cafe does have their own website. I don't think we push it enough, so I wanted to mention it here. We have a lot of plans to add stuff. I realized this is the old format. I'm so sorry. I took these screenshots 2 months ago. What can I say? It does look a lot better now. We did do an overhaul. Last but certainly the best, JK. Language Cafe Discord does have its own website. We have a lot of plans to add stuff in the future, but here's what we currently have. Blog articles written and translated into 12-ish languages by your own community members. And they're also sorted by CEFR level, so you can find something that works best for you. So here's an example from the French page. I put tags on it, basically B1, B2, A1, A2, C1 sort of thing. So you guys can pick articles that you are interested in. All of the articles are language learning, culture, studying, blah, blah, blah. Just tips and stuff like that. Research articles from your fellow language learners in Language Cafe. And hey, if you want to write your own articles, reach out to Kawa. We would love everyone's different perspectives on things. We have an extremely diverse and amazingly international group of people here. So we would love your perspectives on language, culture. We will help you edit the article, stuff like that. And it gets published on our website. So you're technically a published author, which is kind of cool. We also have an archive of previous events where you can use those writing prompts if you're not sure what to write about in your target languages. We have the previous language jams on here. So for example, a language jam, we basically create a narrative and there are different language prompts. So this one, for example, is, you wake up in a town and you're like, oh my God, where am I? But everyone speaks your target language. So you have to introduce yourself to people. So pretty cool. We also have general study materials that we have made. If people are participating in the new member event right now, bingo, that will look very familiar to you. We also have other stuff as well, other games. And then perhaps this is a little meta, but we do put all of our previous masterclasses here. This one that is happening right now will go on the website. For this one, we have a list of 117 languages and resources for all of them. You can read more about languages, and then we also have resources for each of those languages for a good base. If you're looking to learn a new language or you're looking for more resources in a language, we have super niche languages as well. We have a what language should I actually learn quiz. It's basically a parody of like those BuzzFeed quizzes that are like, what language should I learn? But then the questions are like, what toppings do you like on your pizza? And so this one, on the other hand, is actually backed up by linguistics, and it's been heavily researched by us, the staff team, for months. It takes about 2 months for us to do every single iteration of the quiz because we want to make sure that our facts are accurate. Conclusion. All right, guys, we made it to another end. So sorry to everyone for this one being more of a talking at you instead of us doing fun activities, but I couldn't really think of any fun activity to do for this one, but at least it was shorter than the previous one because I think the previous one was like 2 hours long. But anyway, thanks so much for coming. We will be editing it. We'll be putting it on the website sometime in the future, and I'll be making an announcement in the study table, so make sure to just keep an eye out for that. But yeah, I guess for the activity, feel free to share any of your general free language learning resources that I did not include. And other than that, feel free to head out and have a great rest of your weekend.